Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Don't you know yet? It's your light that lights the world. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Dr. Amna Khan. The topic of my presentation is radiation. I'll be presenting it today under the kind supervision of my respectable supervisor, Dr. Saira Afzal. Learning outlines would be introduction of radiations, types of radiation, sources of radiation, protections from radiations, national safety policy, recent advances, MCQs. Learning outlines at the end of the presentation, participants will be able to describe about the radiations, its types, sources, hazards, as well as the protection on national level. Introduction. Radiation is energy that comes from a source and travels through space at a speed of light. This energy has electric field and a magnetic field associated with it and has a wave-like properties. You can also call radiation as electromagnetic waves. Radiation is the flow of atomic and subatomic particles and of waves such as those that characterizes heat, rays, light rays, and X-rays. All matter is constantly bombarded with radiation of both types from cosmic and terrestrial sources. Radiation may be thought of as energy in motion either at speeds equal to the speed of light in free space, approximately 3 into 10 raised per 10 centimeters, 186,000 miles per second, or at speeds less than that of light but appreciably greater than thermal velocity. For example, the velocities of molecules forming a sample of air. Types of radiations. The two broad classes of radiation are unambiguously differentiated by the speed of propagation and corresponding presence of or absence of the rest mass. The first category are referred to as electromagnetic rays plus the neutrino, and those of the second as matter rays. Electromagnetic radiations, the first type constitutes the spectrum of electromagnetic radiations that includes radio waves, microwaves, infrared rays, visible light, ultraviolet rays, X-rays, and gamma rays, as well as the neutrino. The electromagnetic spectrum. There is a wide range of electromagnetic radiation in nature. Visible light is one example. Radiation with the highest energy includes forms like ultraviolet radiations, X-rays, and gamma rays. Gamma rays and X-rays have short wavelengths. They are deep penetrating radiations. X-rays and gamma rays have so much energy that when they interact with atoms, they can remove electrons and cause the atom to become ionized. These are all characterized by zero mass when theoretically at rest. Matter corpuscular radiations. This type includes such particles as electrons, protons, and neutrons. In a state of rest, these particles have mass and are constituents of atoms and atomic nuclei. When such forms of particulate matter travel at high velocities, they are regarded as radiation. Alpha particles, beta particles, which are also called electrons and protons. Alpha particles are 10 times as harmful as X-rays, beta particles, or gamma rays. Alpha particles luckily have little penetrating force. On the other hand, they are quite dangerous if radioactive substance has entered the body by inhalation or through a wound. Here is the pictorial representation of these particles and their passages to different materials. Sources of radiation. The two main sources of radiation are as follows: natural sources and man-made sources. Natural source of radiation. Man is exposed to natural radiation from time immemorial. Natural background radiation arises from three sources: cosmic rays, environment rays, and internal radiations. Cosmic rays, which originate in the outer space, are weakened as they pass through the atmosphere. At ordinary living altitudes, their impact is about 35 millirad a year. At altitudes above 20 kilometer, cosmic radiation becomes important. It has been calculated that a commercial jet pilot receives about 300 rad per year from cosmic radiation. Environmental. Terrestrial radiation. Radioactive elements such as thorium, uranium, radium, and an isotope of potassium are present in man's environment, for example, soil, rocks, buildings. It is estimated that man derives about 50 millirad per year from terrestrial radiation. Areas exist, for example, Kerala in India, where there are rock formations containing uranium. It can be as high as 2,000 millirad of a year. The atmospheric radiations, the external radiation loose from the radioactive gases, radon and thoron, in the atmosphere is rather small, about 2 millirad per year. Internal radiation. Man is also subjected to internal radiation, that is from radioactive matter stored in the body tissues. These radioactive materials include minute quantities of uranium, thorium, and related substances, and isotopes of potassium, K40, strontium, and carbon. It is estimated that the total natural radiation to which the average person is subjected comes to approximately 0.1 rad a year. Man-made source. There are three sources: X-rays, radioactive fallout, and miscellaneous. X-rays, the greatest man-made source of radiation exposure to the general population at the present time is medical and dental X-rays. Two distinct groups are involved. That the first one is patients and the radiologists and medical technicians. The second one is when the optimum radiographic techniques are employed. The skin dose to the patient from a single X-ray film varies roughly from 0.02 to 3 rad. Radioactive fallout. Nuclear explosions release a tremendous amount of energy in the form of heat, light, ionizing radiation, and many radioactive substances. The important being the isotopes of carbon, iodine, cesium, environment, and health, strontium. Cesium 137 and strontium 90 are considered most important because they are liberated in large amounts and remain radioactive for many years. Miscellaneous. Some everyday appliances, for example, TV sets, luminous wristwatches, are radioactive, but radiation from these sources are present at present is too small to be important. Radiation units. The activity of a radiation material is the number of nuclear disintegration per unit of time. The unit of activity is a becquerel. 1 becquerel is equal to 1 disintegration per second. The potency of radiation is measured in three ways. First one is Rontgen. Rontgen is the unit of exposure. It is the amount of radiation absorbed in air at a given point, that is the number of ions produced in 1 milliliter of air. Second one is the rad. Rad is the unit of absorbed dose. It is 1 millirad is equal to 0.001 rad. Third one is REM. REM is the product of the absorbed dose at the modifying factors. And the modifying factors, the REM indicates the degree of potential danger to health. The radiation units, Rontgen, radium, REM, are being replaced by the new SI units, international system units, international system of units, which are first one is the Coulomb per kilogram, replacing the Rontgen. One Rontgen is equal to 2.58 into 10 raised per minus 4 Coulomb per kilogram. It is the unit for exposure. There is no special name for this. Second one is the gray, replacing the rad. It is the unit of absorbed dose, defined as the dose of ionizing radiation that impart 1 joule of energy to 1 kilogram of absorbing material. 1 rad is equal to 0.01 gray, and the third one is the Sievert, replacing REM. It is the SI unit of dose equivalent. The dose equivalent of 1 sievert is equal to 100 rems. Biological effects of radiations. The effects of ionizing radiations can be somatic or genetic. Somatic includes immediate. The first one is the radiation sickness, and the second one is the acute radiation syndrome. Higher doses tend to kill cells, causing organ damage. This is the term may cause whole human body response, often called acute radiation syndrome. Delayed. It has leukemia, carcinogenesis, fetal developmental abnormalities, shortening of life. Genetic, that is the chromosomal mutations, point mutations. Biological hazards. Less than 5 rad, no immediate observable effects would be there. 5 rad to 550 rad, slight blood changes may be detected by medical evaluations. 50 rad to 150 rad, slight blood changes will be noted, and symptoms of nausea, fatigue, vomiting, etc. likely. 150 rad to 110 rad, severe blood changes will be noted and symptoms appear immediately. Approximately 2 weeks later, some of those exposed may die. At about 300 to 500, up to one half of the people exposed will die within 60 days without intensive medical attention. 1100 rad to 2000 rad, the probability of death increases to 100% within 1 to 2 weeks. More than 2000 rad, death is a certainty. At doses above 5000 rads, the central nervous system, brain, and muscles can no longer control the body functions, including breathing and blood circulation. Medical care is for comfort only. So here is the global radiation dosage. Here are being shown the different dosages depending upon the source of radiation. So the nuclear one is 12%, medical is 12%, natural internal one is 10%, natural external is 16%, and so on. The radiation control. How to control the exposure? So basically, it depends upon the time, distance, and shielding. So we have to minimize the time, maximize the distance, and incorporate shielding. Minimize time. The less time that people are exposed to radiation source, the lesser the absorbed dose will be. Radiation control. Maximize the distance. The greater the distance from a source of penetrating radiation, the lesser the overall exposure. Incorporate shielding. Barriers of lead, concrete, or water can stop radiation or reduce the radiation intensity. Radiation protection. Unnecessary X-ray examinations should be avoided, especially in the case of children and pregnant women. It also employs adequate control and the surveillance of X-ray installations, protection of workers, improvements in techniques, and improvements leading to dose reduction. Effective productive measures include proper use of lead shields and lead rubber aprons. Lead aprons 0.5 mm of lead will reduce the intensity of scattered X-ray over 90% and should be worn by all workers regularly and daily basis associated with X-ray procedures. Workers must wear a film badge or a dosimeter which shows accumulated exposure to radiation since last time the instrument was charged. Besides periodic medical examinations, regular working hours, vacations, and holidays must be ensured to workers to maintain their state of health. The International Commission on Radiology Protection recommendation on radiation dose levels for occupational workers and for the general population have been adapted by many countries. It has been recommended that the genetic dose by the whole population from all sources additional to the natural background radiation should not exceed 5 grams over a period of 30 years. The WHO has published permissible radiation levels in drinking water. The International Atomic Energy Agency has sponsored many symposia and radioactive waste disposal and associated subjects. Its main concern has been to promote peaceful uses of atomic energy and to assure that the uses do not imperil peace or health. National safety policy. The government of Islamic Republic of Pakistan is considering the protection of the present and the future generations of Pakistan and the environment as its national responsibility. Has established Pakistan Nuclear Regularity Authority that makes the policy. The first one is the short title: extend applicability and commencement. So the policy may be called the National Safety Policy 2020. The policy extends to the whole of Pakistan. Recent updates. So, an evaluation of the occupational external radiation exposure or of personnel in nuclear medicine particles. Practices. So, abstract is the aim of the study was to examine the radiation doses received by the person working in the nuclear medicine department between 2010 and 2020. The data obtained were compared with the dosage recommended by international authorities. United Nations Scientific Committee on the Effect of Atomic Radiation 2008 report stated that the worldwide annual average effective dose to which personnel were exposed when monitored between 2000 and 2002 was 0.70 and 1.40 millisievert respectively. In the report, 0.7 millisievert refers to the dose of all monitored personnel and 1.4 millisievert refers to the dose above the detection limit. In the study, the annual average effective dose value for personnel exposed to radiation was calculated as 1.65 millisievert. This value represents the dose above the detection limit. Although the individual dose results are below the recommended annual dose limit, it should not be forgotten that more effort should be made to reduce radiation doses using the as low as reasonable achievable principles. Recent updates in the management of nasopharyngeal carcinoma. Nasopharyngeal carcinoma is a malignant tumor arising from the nasopharyngeal mucous lining. Nasopharyngeal carcinoma and the other epithelial head and neck tumors differ significantly despite originating from similar cell lineages. A neck mass is the most common presenting symptom. So PET or the CT scan is a valuable imaging tool in the diagnosis and management of nasopharyngeal carcinoma. The management should commence with multidisciplinary tumor board discussion. Aim of treatment is functional preservation of organs. Management depends upon the stage group of the patient. Early stage is treated by definitive radiation. For locoregional disease, concurrent chemical chemoradiation is the standard of care, while locally advanced disease is managed with new adjuvant chemotherapy followed by concurrent chemotherapy radiation. Radiotherapy is the mainstay treatment option because nasopharyngeal carcinoma is extremely sensitive to ionizing radiation. Nasopharyngeal carcinoma, due to its critical anatomic location and advanced stages, at present possesses a unique challenge for treating radiation oncologists. The prognosis depends upon the extent of local invasion, lymphatic spread, and distant metastasis. Now, time for MCQs. The first one, a pregnant female presented to OPD with the history of cough and fever for 5 days. Physicians advised her some medicine and X-ray chest PA view. She insists on having serial X-rays that should be avoided in the female because of the reason. X-ray has much greater wavelengths. X-ray are deep penetrating. CT scan waves are safer in pregnancy. X-ray mass can cause fetal abnormalities. Avoidance not needed.
D.
No, it's B. X-rays are deep penetrating. Second one, lead is widely used for car batteries, pigments, emanations, cable sheeting and radiation protection, and even in some soldiers. It is often used to store corrosive liquids. However, which of the following radiation can penetrate through thin lead sheets? First one is the ultraviolet rays, B infra red rays, C gamma rays, D microwave rays, and E beta rays.
C.
B.
B.
Charlie, it's gamma rays. The greatest man-made source of radiation to the general population at the present time is medical and dental X-ray. The skin dose to the patient from a single X-ray film varies roughly from 0.02 to 3 units. Generally, the amount of radioactive energy absorbed per gram of tissue or any material is A rad, B rem, C Roentgen, C D Sievert, E column.
C.
C. C.
No, it's
C.
bad. A. Fourth, a 40 years old male working in the factory that deals with the manufacturing of space rockets comes with the complaints of bruises on body, weight loss, and fever off and on, along with a lethargic feeling all the time. His lab shows bone marrow carcinoma. It can be the side effect of radiations. A, immediate, B, genetic, C, somatic, D, delayed.
D.
Yes, it's
B.
delayed.
B.
No, it's delayed. Fifth, unnecessary X-ray examinations should be avoided, especially in the case of children and pregnant women. Which of the following is not the best way to protect from these hazards? A, workers must wear a film badge. B, improvement in techniques. C, must use of lead aprons once a week. D, improvements leading to dose reduction. E, no intervention needed. Anyone?
C.
Uh,
A.
E.
Charlie, must use of lead aprons once a week. Exposure to very high levels of radiation, such as being close to an atomic blast, can cause acute health effects such as skin burns and radiation sickness, etc. The whole body radiation dose must normally be limited to a dose of A, 1 rems per calendar quarter, B, 18 rems per calendar quarter, C, 7 rems per calendar year, D, 5 rems per calendar year, E, 6 rems per calendar year.
It's
D.
D.
Yeah, it's D, already mentioned in the slide, 5 rems per calendar year. Body cells provide structure for the body, take in nutrients from food and carry out specialized functions. Some of them make hereditary material in the form of DNA and make copies of themselves. The earliest indication of radiation damage may be detected in the following type of cells in humans: A, nerve cells; B, skin cells; C, bone cells; D, blood cells; E, fat cells.
A.
B.
No, it's blood cells. D.
D.
8. The standard international unit of absorbed dose of ionizing radiation is if the 2 rads of ionizing radiations are producing 1 joule of energy per hour. In 1 kilogram substance, how much ionizing radiations will be absorbed according to standard international unit of absorbed dose? A, 0.02 gray, B, 0.01 Roentgen, C, 0.2 rem, D, 0.2 gray, E, 0.3 gray.
B.
No, it's alpha 0.02 gray. And here is the explanation as well. So gray replacing the red, basically it's a unit of absorbed dose defined as the dose of ionizing radiation that impart 1 joule of energy to 1 kilogram of absorbing material. And 1 red is equal to 0.01 gray. So according to the above statement, it's 2. So that would be like 0.02. Explanation is done. And now ninth one is a person XYZ came to visit Mayo Hospital with the history of vomiting and pain abdomen. Slight blood changes are noted and symptoms of nausea, fatigue are also there. He is working at a radiological factory. The dose of radiations that can cause such hazards are A, 5 rad to 50, 150 rad to 110, 300 rad to 500 rad, D, 1100 rad to 2000 rad, and E, above 2000 rad. Anyone?
A.
D.
No, it's B. 150 rad to 110 rad. 10th, asthma, chronic cough disorders are prevailing in country because of the presence of substances in the atmosphere that are harmful to the health of humans and animals. The amount of radioactive exposure happened in 1 ml of air is measured in which of the following? A, rem, B, rad, C, Roentgen, D, gray, E, Newton. Anyone? It's C.
C.
No, it's C, Roentgen. Here's the key of the MCQs, and these are the references. Thank you so much. Here's the link of the YouTube channel. Kindly like and subscribe. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amna. Very nice presentation, especially the part that you have covered in MCQs and their explanation that are